about the teams who will be debuting this season. Let's say this season, like their first time playing 9-man this season for the Charm City Classic. Because these are the teams that you're going to see for the first time. Now, some of these have already played.
I was going to ask what you would.
All right, so these teams.
I thought we were about to get into the list.
Yeah, we are. But we're going to mention teams first. These are teams that will be debuting at Charm City who won't be listed. Because I'm going to tell you this. I'll tell you why. Because you and I both know someone's going to say, well, why are we not listed? So I got to explain this. I got to explain things 1,000 times before they get it.
Yeah, they still won't get it.
I know. That's everybody, though. It's all cool. I love you guys. I just want to make it clear. These are teams who have not played 9-man in any sort of 9-man league or the circuit this year. However, this first team, I'm looking forward to seeing who it is. OTF at Charm City. They're from Virginia. I've heard rumors it's PME. I asked PME. A representative of PME told me it's not PME. Then I thought it was a family. The 8-man team we covered a few times. They have a 5-man team too.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they were making a jump, which that would have been a little interesting. I don't know what they got. I've been saying for a while, if you could just simply get down the scheme of your offense and chemistry and have the athletes there and just find enough blockers for an O-line with a quarterback of a high IQ, you can win. I mean, Chris Boone has made a career out of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Facts.
And I'm not saying everybody can be Chris Boone, but I'm saying if you could find a quarterback with a high IQ.
Chris Boone ain't shit.
Hey, man. I don't know.
I'm allowed to say that. That's my dog.
He's their guy. Won the championship. 3 of them. Shout out Chris Boone.
Showtime's my 5-man team.
Showtime's legit as 5-man, boy. I got to catch them live again sometime. Let's go back to this, though. We got to stay on topic. We got to be a little serious tonight.
Oh, boy.
Don't know why. Yeah, I already screwed it up by the first 25 minutes of this episode. I know. I'm just having.
Roll with it, dog.
I'll tune it up for next week. This is my relaxed episode. Let's get to it. All right, we roll with it. Stop talking to me. No. OTF. I hear it's Playmakers Elite under a name. Like I said, a representative has said no. One guy has said yes. I don't know. Dio, the shirt that says OTF on the back of it. So I guess Dio is involved some way or another. I don't know. We'll just see. I'm not going to say one way or the other. Just let me know, guys, in the comments, and I'll just take them off, period. Some say it could be the 8-man team. Are they coming up? Are they playing 9 now? We'll see. Could it be neither of them? I mean, we know about 4 different teams called the Killer Bees, the Killer Bees, and
Killer Bees.
They're all from Pennsylvania.
Killer Bees, and then there's Killer Bees with money. I don't know. I made that part up.
And any other day, I heard someone say they want to call their team Killer Bees. Just stop.
Never. Next
team, Gusto Land, YAFFL. They have not played 9-man since Clash of York 2. That Baez game we were talking about a lot last week, the one where they lost, like they lost to Baez again this weekend and then lost him again on Sunday. Yeesh. How about getting your heart ripped out 3 straight times in a row against one team? That's got to hurt. It hurts so bad we haven't seen Gusto Land since.
Can you still?
I'm joking. I love you, Gusto Land. You guys are awesome. One of my favorite teams.
Yeah, I like Gusto Land. Can you still call it a rivalry?
Bro, I don't think it's a rival. Here's the thing. It's I see it as something where it could grow into a big one. But look at the facts. Gusto Land has almost beaten them in all 3 games. They've had chances.
Right.
Like, you go back to that first game. Yeah, go back to that first game at York. It was 10-0. Gusto had them. And you know who the quarterback was for Gusto Land? Ray Wagner, the quarterback of Baez Auto right now.
Yeah, the one that I covered, right?
Yep.
That's why I knew he looked familiar when I saw
That's what I thought about the other day. I didn't. It took me a minute until he said it to me the other day when I talked to him. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, because I remember watching Ray in that Scorpions game, and I'm thinking, I know this may not be the Scorpions, although I think Travis was there. But the fact that Gusto Land and the way Ray was executing on them, I want to see how Ray Wagner is going to do if Baez Auto were to draw the No Mercy Scorpions in Trump City Classic. But I go back to Gusto Land real quick because they don't want to hear about Baez Auto. We're just going to put it like this with Gusto. they are a team that the last few years they've had a lot of interest from me. Like you go back to the first Clash of York, they beat Rideout in their first game, and that was after Rideout had won Charm City, and then they also beat the Maryland Raiders and joined the club. From there, the next day, 27-21 and 2 overtimes of Rampage, where Rampage went on to win the Clash of York after that, beating BC Elite and Renegades in the end. After that, Gusto Land, winner chiller, came over to Shippensburg. They came to the 4th state. Remember when Gusto came to the 4th state? That was awesome.
Yeah.
Beat Ruckus 33-0. They also joined the club that day. Man, they got doubled up by Gusto in a month. Ugh. And then they went on to play Misfits in one of the greatest games in the history of this area. 25-19. Yeah. And they were just one catch away from winning, tying that and saying overtime. Could have won at the end. Who knows? Yeah. Misfits Gusto Land.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's one that's
multiple times. That tells you.
That is one of my highest viewed videos.
The only other time I do that is with Warriors games. I'm just studying film.
We'll get on Warriors a little bit later on.
Yeah, I know.
I know. But yeah, Gusto Land, we haven't seen them since. Semifinalists in YFFL just went 8s, lost to Baez Auto there. However, along the way, they looked very good. And the one thing about Gusto I noticed was they ran a bit more of a 9-man scheme in that tournament. They came out more of a 9-man approach. They kept a tight end in there. They ran 3 receivers. They had Bob in the backfield. And that offense, day 1 against Baez, clicked very well. But day 2, that was a defensive duel. Both sides were just not relenting against each other. And I got to give credit. I got to give a lot of credit to that Gusto Land offense in the end of that game on yesterday. They were down 7-0. Baez had a 1st and goal with 2 minutes to go. It looked like it was over. Baez ended up not scoring. Gusto got the ball back with less than 30 seconds to go at the 1, and they drove 79 yards down the field, only to lose on the final play of regulation on the extra point. 7-6, Baez wins. Gusto's getting there, though. I'm looking forward to seeing Gusto Land come back to 9-man for Charm City Classic. So I'm looking forward to see what Sporters have to do. Like I said, they're going to have to play a little bit more to get on the list I'm doing. This is based on having a minimum of 8 games, whether it be a 9-man league or whether it be through tournament play. If you can get to a minimum of 8, I'll put you on for this. Gusto right now, they haven't played at all since 2020, October now. We're actually about to approach 10 months almost since then, or at least 9 months, I should say. But we'll see them soon. We've seen them in YFFL tournaments. They still got something going. That defense looks sick. That defense shut down Gangrene, gave it all to them yesterday, held a great Baez offense to just 7. Really looking forward to seeing how Gusto Land does. Jets, OMFFL. Originally, they were there for the spring season, but they withdrew late, so we're going to see them at Charm City Classic for the first time. Looking forward to seeing how the Jets do. I've heard they're some of the One Motion guys. If so, I had a chance to see One Motion last year. They brought Al into OMFFL. Al from Misfits came through there. Made a big splash when he joined the league. Got a lot of notice quickly. Now he's playing A racquetball. Big talent. And if that's the same squad, I'm confident they could bring in some guys to field a competitive team that can make something happen. Really looking forward to seeing how Jets do. I've heard some from Aftermath may be involved. I don't know. If anybody knows, just let me know in the comments. I just want to get it all out of the way before we get to the Charm City build up in 2 weeks. Baltimore Spartans, based out of Maryland. They'll be making their 9-man debut. If what I'm seeing here is true, this is the same Baltimore Spartans that Ross and I covered back in DMV FFL Nitro back in March. A team that I commented to Ross afterwards, they looked like a 9-man team. The line that team had was they had the right size, they had the right build, they had great knowledge of the game. They seemed like a team that played together extremely well. And if that is the same team that we saw at Nitro, I get the feeling that they could surprise a lot of teams in that tournament, depending on what extra pieces they can bring in. Because you remember at Nitro, the roster limit was about 15 to 20. This one's going to be closer to 30, 35. I don't know the exact number, somewhere up there. So we'll see what the Baltimore Spartans bring in. I'm very much interested in seeing what this squad has in store going into the Charm City Classic. They were a semifinalist in Nitro. I believe they lost to the Savages. So looking forward to seeing what they have in store. All right, let's give an honorable mention to some of these teams. These are the teams who did not make the minimum qualifications for the event for this ranking. Remember, you have to play at least 8 games to make it. These teams have not hit 8 yet for this season. One of them was in a league for 9-man this year, but they didn't finish. The other 3, one tried to play but couldn't. They did play, however, 2 exhibition games, which is why I put 2-0 there, just as a small notice of who they are. The other 2 have played in the circuit. They played league ball and YAFFL. They played on other stuff and other tournaments, other styles, but they haven't had that minimum qualification of 8 yet. However, they will after Charm City Classic, which after that, I'll have them listed on the next rankings for this area once we get done Charm City. So let's go ahead and get to these 4. The first team is Elite. They went 0-4 in the OMFFL this year. Ended the season early, forfeiting their final 6 games. They were outscored 91-12, or an average of 22.75 to 3 in 4 games. May return for the fall. Josh Floyd says he's going to try to put a team in. We'll see if it's the same Elite squad he had or he'll find some more guys. Either way, we'll see what happens. But they didn't get enough games in this season to qualify for this ranking, so we're not going to list them on there. If they come back and get a few more in, at least get 4 in, we could put them on the rankings for next time. But for now, I'm leaving Elite off because they didn't finish their season. I know officially they're 0-9, but to me, they didn't play 9 games. They just played 4. Elite is 0-4.
Sorry, I'm back.
You're back. Welcome back.
Yeah. Should be good.
This next team is the Demons. They are listed as 2-0. That is a off-season record. They are based out of Maryland. They were a 4-state fours preseason champion. And along the way, they knocked off the Outlaws and Ruckus to win it. And I'll tell you, that Demons team at the 4-state fours, you had an opportunity to see. They don't qualify. They're on the honorable mention.
Oh, we're still on that?
Yeah.
All right.
They're a team that they did play 9-man. They did play. They played 2 exhibition games, so they did exist.
They're gonna be around.
They just didn't play in the spring because they didn't have guys. They did have guys, and I tell you, it was interesting as that season went along in the spring, seeing all the Demon jerseys and shorts
everywhere.
Yeah, bro. Bro, I'm telling you. There's a new strain of cram out there, and I'm hearing this new strain of cram is even better than ever. It's been reinvented. It's been updated. It's not the same old street cram. This is medical 100% cram dispense. We talking THC to a level that you cannot even imagine. It's
gonna be pretty damn good.
Yeah, you got a whole new generation taking over, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they got.
I'm trying to coach them up.
I'm looking forward. I like this Demon squad.
I was going to hit them up so they would need a coach.
Hey man, I like it.
Hangout guy.
I like these guys. I like this group. I like this group a lot. The names that I've heard, this is going to be a team to look out for. And I get the feeling a lot of teams are going to know who the Demons are by the end of this year. We mentioned the 4-state fours championship. They beat Outlaws 20-0, and then they beat Ruckus 28-6. Some might say, well, Ruckus, Outlaws, not exactly great teams. Ruckus that day was not Ruckus. They were pretty loaded that day. That was Tyler Spencer. That was Sean Moats. That was a lot of, yeah. That was basically a Killer Bees, Misfits, Ruckus, Warriors hybrid they went
Still waiting
against.
for my rent check, Dustin Mitchell. Still waiting for my rent check.
Hey, man. Moving on.
I was just going to party with the Warriors.
That'd be nice. But going back to the Demons, they put up 48 points in 2 games, 24 points per game, shut out the Outlaws, held Ruckus to 6. And like I said, I know you're saying it's like that, but that wasn't Ruckus that we saw in Washington County this year. On the fly, yeah, I think annoying. Pick that salt weapon out.
It was salt.
Yeah, pick that assault weapon out.
Bug assault.
Yeah, he needs to fuck off. God damn, I hate fries. This serious episode really got hijacked quick. I love it. It's my life. It's now or never. I ain't gonna take them out, Ross.
We live real close to the river, man. I gotta get more salt.
Oh, you gotta get more salt. Yep. All right, just go in the pantry.
B to the R to the B. Yeah, I know where it's at.
There you go. But like I said with the Demons, they look phenomenal. The talent they have on offense alone and the potential of Sean Parker as a quarterback or whoever he may bring in and some of the talent that I saw at the 4-state force, some of those faces that came in, those guys he brought in from Frederick, and the potential of the program defense from last year coming in as well. One that was 4th place in Washington County. And I said, like, that program team was only missing an offense last year. They had a rough time going back and forth with Ant and nice guy Nick. And I feel like this new team, this Demon squad, is going to be better than what program Nighthawks, going back further, PG Hitmen, Storm, Gold's Gym, and Tri-State Spartans did. Sorry, we haven't yet finished that, have we? We'll get to the Spartans later.
Yeah.
But God is Demons team. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to be doing this fall. Next team, 717 Elite, 2-5. They're out of the YAFFL. They do not play in a 9-man league at the moment, although some of their guys were prime time up at KFFL. I'm not going to count that because it's a little different. Different franchises, Prime time, that's Ryan Jones's thing. 717, that's D. Will. They actually were playing in the YAFFL, just went 8th tournament this past weekend. They had a really phenomenal day 1. Went down day 2, however, in the first game to the Maryland Select Patriots. That was a wild game, man. That was one of those I wish I had.
It's a main event looking team, right? They got the main event.
Sort of main event. Sort of. Yeah, they played down in Nitro. That game was hyped. Yeah, that game was hyped. Like you could hear that whole game from field 1 to field 3. That's how loud it was because they were just in each other's faces. It was back and forth. Patriots got them in the end. But 717 Elite, they've been traveling. They've been playing. They played down at DMV FFL, East Coast Nationals, or FFWCT, East Coast Nationals. I got it backwards all weekend with those two. I don't know.
Be like that sometimes.
Everything blurs me after a while.
I hear you, dude.
Yeah.
You already know how I am.
Same.
I'll cover games and forget they even existed.
You don't even remember your own playing career.
Oh, no, I remember that.
All right. But like I said, it was 717. 9-man speaking, they went 2-5. Their 2 wins were against the New York Rebels and Steel. Rebels out of the GCFFA / New Era. Steel from the Rhode Island League up there. Other than that, though, along the way, they've had some tough opponents. Rampage on day 1 of Ocean City. They had to play the Bulls, too, that day. Then they had to play the Tri-State Spartans. Tough draw on that weekend. 2 teams in the Spartans and Rampage who are making serious moves in the B right now. a Bulls team on the up and up. And then Atlantic City, tough draw with the Reapers and Nomads too. They beat the Rebels, but turned around had to play Nomads, and that was not a team you want to play in Jersey. Right. Not in their backyard. Yeah, Nomads gave it to them in that game. But 717's making some strides, giving some time. They'll play at least 2 games in Charm City, 3 give or take, I should say. And so by the end of Charm City, we'll have them on the rankings. We'll see where they are. Looking forward to seeing what 717 Elite's going to look like. Moving. Yeah, I think so too. Next team on here, Baez Auto, 4-2 out of the YAFFL. Ocean City B bracket runner-up to Rampage. They won YAFFL's tournaments this year. Both just went Hanover and just went 8s. Believe it or not, did not win the YAFFL this year. That went to the Zombies who took that one. But they won the 2 big tournaments so far this year. Had a big weekend beating Gusto Land, the Baltimore Rebels, and Future of the Retro Invaders. That was a great game yesterday between Baez and the Invaders. Nice clash of styles between those two, kind of like the Rampage Baez championship, except in reverse this time with Baez getting the win. Along the way, they've gotten wins in the Tri-State Spartans, FOE, Riot Squad, and Brick Squad. The 2 losses to Bad Boys and Rampage. They'll be making their A debut in the Charm City Classic. Really looking forward to seeing what Baez Auto can do for this upcoming 9-man year. Like I said, they don't play in a 9-man league right now. And that being said, I would love to see them come to the 4th state and play in one of the leagues down here. Whoever's on Saturdays, I don't know who is right now, what's going on with that. But whoever ends up getting that Saturday slot, I'd love to see Baez Auto join her.
I would put them on my list.
They need about 2 more games to qualify to get on. Well, the thing is, minimum of 8 because you got to have to play a full season to get on there. That's how I roll it. They only played 6. They had 6 in OC. I could count the 8-man YAFFL style in a way because, I've had that conversation that their style up there is more of a 9-man C style. You go back to and that's not disparaging it. I'm saying it could serve as a transition from one to another, from 8-man to 9-man. We saw how Future of the Retro did this weekend. They were putting up 22.5 points per game in that tournament before the Baez championship. And that was an 8-man FFWCT traditional 8-man style team coming up there and playing in that. That's a team who, if the Invaders were to find some 9-man linemen or big linemen, could they do something? I mean, anything's possible. I've been saying it for a bit. Scheming and coaching is a big part of this game, and a lot of teams lack that at times, especially at big moments. Some got it, some don't. But with Baez, they'll be counted after this one. When they hit 8, because I consider 8 to be a full season played. Because most leagues will play 8 games at a minimum. So when they get to that 8th game after the first day of Saturday, they'll be in it, and we'll see where they're at after Charm City. Because Charm City, they're going to have a very interesting lineup potentially when you look at the names that they could be facing in that tournament. Could you imagine if they get a day 1 of main event in Strong Island and then Punishers to start day 2?
Right.
That could happen.
Right. Wow.
Anything can happen.
Wow.
All right. Moving on now. We're going to go ahead and do the first part. There we go. These are teams 28 through 25. 28 is how many qualified for this. We did not count teams twice, so you're not going to see Rampage MAFL and Rampage OMFFL.
Right. That would be lame.
It would give me a migraine to try to decipher it. I mean, I could make the argument that I don't know. I'm not going to bother with that. Let's take a look at what's going on with the 28 through 25, the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. Beginning at number 28 on the power rankings, or Joey rankings, we don't do power rankings. We do the Joey rankings of his opinion, as we call it. That's the short version. At number 28 is the Outlaws. They're 0-9 this year out of the KFFL. Thank you, sir. As we mentioned, when they played in the four-state force preseason, they lost to the Demons 20-0, but they also lost their next game 13-0 to a team that I didn't mention that I could place on that list from earlier, the list of teams that might qualify for the next round, the list that Demons and Baez were on, the Immortals. Because the Immortals were at one time in the offseason looking to be a team this season. Zach Ruby and company were looking to make some moves. They were looking to play. I was thinking they were going to, and it's kind of alarming for Outlaws. You know, the Demons game I get, that's hard to go against Sean Parker and Polo and all those other guys that he had out there that day. But against the Immortals, they lost 13-0. And that was a team that never played after that. That was the last time we saw Immortals. If so, then hey, shout out to Zach Ruby, went out a winner against one of the teams he started against. If not, I'd like to see the Immortals come back, but we'll see about them. Maybe they'll pop up, maybe they won't. But the Outlaws 0-9 KFFL. It took about 7 games for them to score their first points, counting the 2 preseasons. Shut out 6 times, outscored 227-26. Yeah. Not good. But, you know, first-year team. But you can say there's a lot of inexperience, but there's also a lot of experience. But like we said, KFFL was a tough league this year. Down the stretch, that offense started to get somewhere. If they can get their pieces back and start doing good, the Outlaws might be able to get out of the basement. Till then, they're sitting there right now. They're 0-9 on the year. Shut out 6 times. They got blown out. I don't want to do the average points per game, even though in my head I'm doing it right now a little bit. I want to say it was about 25-3 on terms of points per game. Just outscored 8 times as many as they were scored. It's just bad. Number 27 is UNR out of the Washington County Flag Football League, 0-9 on the year. They were outscored 300-52 total by the end of the year. It was a tough one between UNR and Outlaws. I actually thought UNR didn't do too bad at times against some superior competition. In fact, early on, you know, some could say what you want about the Washington County field this year not being a regular 9-man field, but UNR actually did put up twice as many points as Outlaws did, and they played a lot of stiff competition. You got to remember, UNR played us 3 times, the Warriors 3 times. Yeah, they had to face Kevin Clancy 3 times. They had to play the Spartans twice. Like UNR was just, and then yeah, 3 times in a season. So a third of those games were against Warriors, and then you had 2 more against Spartans. Broad Axe in there too. 6 of their 9 games were just impossible for them to win. And you know, you can say the same about Outlaws and KFFL, but you know, Jamie Zimmerman, I'm not going to call him that name, the other name. Jamie Zimmerman did a pretty good job, I thought, at times of working with what he had. Who knows what would have happened if Trail would have stayed. I think if Trail would have gotten, you know, hey, Trail's won Washington County before.
I like Trail, but what he was working with,
it's rough, but it's tough because, like I said, with UNR and Outlaws, some could say Outlaws are better because they're less. I thought UNR did put up a bit of a better fight at times.
I think it's a toss-up, man.
It is because, like, it's hard to say. We need this to happen.
You can decide it.
Can we get a crowd fundraiser for a UNR versus Outlaws game?
Yeah, it's the only way it can be decided.
Yeah, and that's what we need to have happen. See, it's rough. I just have more sympathy with UNR because UNR just had so many bad draws. Like,
hold on, didn't you say you didn't come prepared for this either?
I was prepared. Like my PowerPoint?
Pretty sure it's not what you said earlier, bro.
I know. Pure Chaos, number 26, 1-8 out of the Washington County Flag Football League. Sole win was against UNR. They beat them 38-6. And then the next week after that, they got screwed over by having no back judge. Because Cody Snavely made the greatest play in the history of Ruckus to win a game. But there was no back judge to see that. Poor Chaos.
It'd be like that.
Yeah, don't even call him Pure Chaos anymore. Call him Poor Chaos. 1-8 overall. Bottom of the barrel for those three. I think Chaos out of the three has the most potential. I think Chaos will eventually get somewhere. I mean, the potential's there. The dedication is they got a lot of young talent. I think Chaos has something. Right. Outlaws at UNR, though. Outlaws, I think, Grant needs more time, but that team, it's tough because it had the same problem I felt like the Browns had. I just felt like nothing. I feel like Abe should have been given another shot at QB.
I do too.
Because I think Abe had them on the right track last year. Like against TBT, yeah, he struggled in that playoff game. And I give Zach Ruby credit. Zach Ruby came in and almost beat us in a playoff game. Well, that would have been wild. Shout out Ruby. Yeah, Ruby's underrated. Ruby is very underrated. People bag on Zach, but Zach's better than people think.
Yep.
Like I really liked what he did with Mortals at times. We'll get on that a lot more down the road. I'd like to see him come back to flag.
A bunch of great plays for the Warriors too.
Great plays, and he was one of those guys who always had his teams ready to go for anything. 25, Ruckus, 5-5 out of the Washington County Flag Football League. All 5 wins were against Pure Chaos and UNR, one of which they probably shouldn't have had. They were outscored 130-47 by Spartans, Warriors, and Broad Axe, including a 47-20 loss to Broad Axe in the semifinals. Don't get me wrong, when I look at the players Ruckus has, this definitely is a team that could be something. It's just, sup, Jaeger? The whole family's coming out here tonight. Ruckus could be something. They definitely have the guys.
That's the oldest kid right there.
Yeah, he is. Good boy. I don't want to move the camera because he's too comfortable. He's just laying here now. Good dog. Ruckus has the guys to make something work depending on what their team looks like next season.
Oh.
I don't know. Like it's weird with Ruckus because all 5 of their wins were against teams who had a combined record of 1-17.
You should tell that kid to start recruiting people.
They definitely
start recruiting his neighborhood friends that he plays football with in the neighborhood.
Well, the thing about Ruckus is, don't get me. I don't even know who that kid is. I only saw them play once this year live.
Dustin's illegitimate child.
Bro, I wasn't there for that. I don't know. I think Ruckus could do something. It's hard to really evaluate them because they didn't beat anybody this year. Like Chaos is their signature win.
Kind of Snavely stuff like that to build off of that.
I mean, you made a semifinals run with it and almost beat ADR. It's definitely possible. Ricky Miller? How the fuck is Ricky Miller not the starting quarterback for that team? Who's that guy they had in playoffs?
I don't know.
You didn't watch the playoff game, did you?
I don't think I did.
I don't even know the guy. I can't. Maybe I recognized him a little bit, but he wasn't clicking.
Did they play Broad Axe?
Yeah.
No, I definitely.
They lost 47-20 in that game.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on Ruckus. I mean, we've been kicking their ass for a while.
One of these days, sit down and watch all this shit. Well, no, I haven't watched that.
Yeah, I don't know. With Ruckus, they haven't beaten anybody, and they've lost all their chances to beat teams who had a post. Their best shot was Broadax. They came close against Broadax the one time. It was 2019 during the season, but then they followed up by losing by 27 the next game. So it's like I don't. Yeah, it's just with the competition nowadays in this area, they're a lower tier team to me at this point. Moving on now, 24-21. West Virginia Venom 3-6 out of the KFFL. They beat Outlaws and Killer Bees. That's their signature win. They beat the Killer Bees this season, albeit it was a weird game where Bees had nobody. But whatever you got. That was a day where we had 2 Venom Bees games. That was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, ever. That is wild, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. That's some once in a lifetime thing.
I was fortunate enough to cover one of them.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure someone went live. I think a roadshow or somebody went live.
I still don't remember what Bees was that.
The Killer Bees,
right?
But not Gene Sanchez's Killer Bees. This is the Joyzy Bees.
That's right. There's Killer Bees and there's 2 Killer Bees.
Yeah, different Joyzy.
Yeah. And they didn't have
Gene's from PA. But then there's also another Killer Bees in PA.
Yeah.
So there's 4 that hang around that region. Yeah. I'm tired of his name.
They must have Killer Bees up there. I don't know.
And they're all black and yellow.
R.I.P. I guess.
I don't know anymore. Their losses were the Prime Time, Reckless Villains, X-Dogs, and the Tri-State Spartans. However, West Virginia Venom, they lost 4 games by a score or less, including 7-0 to the Bees in the playoffs. And you look at that Venom squad, they had something. They almost beat the Misfits. Killer Bees in the playoffs.
I think if there's a couple more games in that season, I think they would have been a force to be reckoned with. One of those kind of deals. I hope they stick together and they're moved to other stuff, get back to KFFL and all that.
I hope so too, because I like what Johnny Cocho and them were doing. The biggest thing to me will be keeping that core together. Like I said, that's going to be tough. Yeah. Like Johnny's one of the younger coaching minds out there, but he's going to really need to hold on to Lucas. And I think that's going to be the biggest key is holding on to Lucas. Because Lucas makes the offense work. It's going to be tough. Lucas is young and he's going to be highly sought after, man. He's going to be big.
Highly sought after.
Yeah. We'll see what Venom can do. I like what they did this year. You think about it. Lost 4 games by a score or less, including that Beast game in the playoffs. If they had won those 4, you're looking at a team that would have been sitting at 7-2 into a semifinals game with the Spartans potentially, or even an X-Dogs or anybody, maybe even a championship. Who knows? But Lucas just couldn't get. He didn't have receivers at times. The receiving core was not as great as it could have been. The line did its best. They had Bo. Remember Bo from Ducks?
They definitely need
They had Bo. They don't need an O-line. They got a Bo line. They got Bo.
If you got Bo, what Mo do you need?
They used to call her D-line the Ducks, the Bo and Joe line.
Moving on.
Yeah, we're going to stop that.
Next team.
I'm being too ridiculous right now.
Prime
time. 3-7 out of the YAFFL/KFFL. To me, they're a predominantly York team. They're a York team that's playing in KFFL because York don't have a 9-man league. I think if they did, Prime Time would be staying home. Wins over West Virginia Venom, Outlaws, and the Reckless Villains. Losses to the Killer Bees, Tri-State Spartans, and the X-Dogs. Semi-finalists in the KFFL, 6 losses by a score or less. That's the stat that's really insane.
Yeah, and I know they had a couple issues with KFL, graphene, and such. But you all just got to look past that. I think they did start getting past it.
They did. Well, the thing about Primetime is it's a story of a team that could have easily won. Yeah, that could have been their league this year if they had.
Should we start doing like AKA Piranhas now? Or
I don't know. Piranhas might be different. I don't know how different it is. I don't know. I think Piranhas is Ryan bringing the York team over, which I don't know anything about York Piranhas, so I can't really vouch about them. Are there even Piranhas in York?
Is there any piranhas
Is there an ocean in York?
in North American region? I don't think there is. Pretty sure it's always South America.
I used to always be afraid of piranhas and sharks. Again.
Oh man, dude. I remember that one. What was that?
Next topic.
What was that
6
one?
scores
What was
by a
that one
score or
movie?
less. 6 losses, I mean. Yeah, the Tri-State Spartans game. Oh, boy. Reckless Villains in the first time around. That was a shootout. Villains only had 11, and TJ Williams just made their secondary pay. They almost lost the Venom game. That was a close one. Primetime was an exciting team to watch this year because they were always in a great game every week. Like, every game they had was competitive. If they win those 6 games, they're sitting at 9-1.
Jamie Lozano's here.
There he is.
Lasagna.
Yeah, I want to see Wolverines come to 4-State. Jamie, you got to bring the Wolverines to the 4-State. You guys got to get redemption for what happened, for what Pat Freedom did to your lineman. You got another bug? This is the goofiest, serious show we've done in a long time. This is supposed to be for the Charm City build-up. I know.
Had my first kids practice.
Did you? Hey.
I ran them little boogers.
There you go.
It's conditioning week.
There you go. Jamie's on the way. He's bringing the Wolverines to the 4-State. I love to see it. I like what the Wolverines do. They actually are a really good team to watch. I had a lot of fun seeing them. Ali Zangari. All I got to say, Ali Zangari. Am I mispronouncing that? Please let me know. If anybody hasn't watched it yet, that catch he had on day 1 of that tournament against the Invaders was insane. We'll send the info, Jamie. I know. We're just letting you know to come on over. I'll send you a text later. I got an update on that. But yeah, you take a look at it. Prime time and Ali. Yeah, Ali. Okay, I got it now. Back to prime time. I'm getting way off topic for this. This is how our power rankings used to go, though, back in the day.
I'm sure when we get to the bottom of it, there's some shit, Joey, but
we'll get through the shit. They could have been 9-1. Primetime had the talent. They had the potential. Every game was close with them. They were a team I had fun watching last season in KFFL. I look forward to seeing how they grow. Piranha seems to be the move, so this might be the end of Primetime. Could be a name change. We'll see what's going on in the fall. It's too early still. We still got Charm City in a few weeks. Lean with it, rock with it. Number 22, the Reckless Villains, 5-4, our arch nemesis from Keystone.
Yeah.
The team that made you cry.
I ain't never cried.
When TJ beat you 19-0.
I ain't never cried. They took my knee out, though.
I have a scream machine.
Did you say bullshit?
I didn't say anything.
I definitely never cried on the football field.
That was Green Machine. Green Machine hurt your knee. Knee Machine.
Nah, they just put the dagger in. It was already hurt.
Green Machine ended 2 careers that day.
Man, shit. I'll be back.
Little did they know.
I'll be back.
All right, Terminator. Reckless Villains, 5-4. They beat the X-Dogs because the district manager, Chris Boone, showed up and took over, and they turned into Showtime. They beat the Killer Bees because Boone was there that day and the district manager walked in, and They beat Primetime because TJ really wanted to prove a point that day. And he did. He really proved a point that day. Yeesh. Outlaws. Because they're the Outlaws. And West Virginia Venom. Competitive game. Very competitive game. That's actually a good matchup. That's still a localized matchup. They should merge or something. Losses. Tri-State Spartans. Both times. But even then, they played Spartans really well in the one game. It was 6-0. Like, Villains Villains.
They had problems getting numbers there.
Numbers were a problem. They had some good guys. I like the roster they had though. That roster was cool. Like you had Smoke coming over. You had Trey come up. Tivis, the MVP of the league. Boone was supposed to be there. Cannon, Coley, Wayne, Trey.
One of the most slept-on players.
Yes. Ed Guerrero, Jace Denham, Nick Rowland.
For years.
They were a fun team because Tivis was playing. Tivis and them literally had to go both ways.
That motherfucker did get an interception, though, man. That is the ultimate from the D-line.
Yes.
That is the ultimate. I got to give him that credit. I'm not even going to hate on him for that.
I empathize.
I mean, I do hate on him for that because, like, that's literally every D-lineman's dream. But
yeah.
He should have scored, too, though. You got to put the wheels on, man. Or at least pitch it back and then just lay the ultimate block on the person that's closest to the guy you pitch it back to.
Yeah, but
just bang!
Tivis should have trucked like Keenan and ran to
I'll
the
take
end zone.
off with that too, and I'll probably get pulled down 5 yards after I intercept.
Probably. Like I said, Villains, I empathize with them a lot. I felt like I was watching TBT last season every week they came out. They only had about 10 to 15 guys. The roster as random as it can get. Great dudes. Boone didn't save the day this time, though, because he was winning much bigger things in Florida. Yeah. Look forward to seeing how that goes this weekend for Showtime. We'll talk about that, too.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. I don't remember what happened in North Carolina.
Charlotte Major, I don't know if he won anything or not.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, I got to look into that.
Check into that.
Maybe we'll ask him about it on Tuesday night, tomorrow night. We'll talk to Chris Boone.
Yeah.
Number 21, Bulls, 5-11 out of the OMFFL. But finishing up with Villains, playoff time, one and done to prime time. Prime time played that game really well for what little they had, too. Like, neither side had anything for that game in terms of numbers. Like, they had enough that they could have merged and played together for a playoff. And that was a good competitive game. Prime time won at the end. I think that was the first, like one of the few times that season where something went right for prime time at the end. And they were able to get the win on the Villains. I don't know what the future of the Reckless Villains is. I haven't heard much about them. TJ will always find a way, though. Yeah, there is a couple of demons. There's a good bit of demons on there. A few bad boys, too. Number 21, Bulls, 5-11. OMFFL.
That team was awesome, bro.
Yeah. Wish I saw more. Number 21, Bulls, 5-11 out of the LMFFL. 2 wins in the circuit over 717 Elite and Bloodline. 6 losses, however, by a score or less in league play. They've been in it every time. They played No Mercy tough. They played Rampage tough. They played Ride Out tough.
Right.
They played everybody tough. This was a good team this year.
Talking about Bulls, right?
Yeah. Very resilient team. Very tough team.
A couple key pieces here and there.
Yeah.
They're
going to make some moves soon. I really look forward to seeing how the Bulls do over the course of like the rest of this year.
Another team I hope sticks together. Just rides it out.
I like to see that too because they definitely have that potential. You look at the 6 losses, they could have easily right now have been sitting at 11-5 instead of 5-11. Yeah, they were a fun team to watch. And that jersey's lit.
Yeah. Like I said, a couple key pieces, O-line for sure. Remember that one game, man. Their O-line was
Trenches are the hardest part, man. Maybe you can come out of retirement, Ross.
That's what I was just thinking.
They got 2 wins in the circuit over 717 Elite and Bloodline. The good news for that is that means they've gotten a win in every tournament they played in so far. They beat 717 in OC, beat Bloodline in AC. Tough draws the next day. They had to play Bad Boys on Sunday in Ocean City, a game which they played the Bad Boys very well. But AC, they had Empire the next day, who went on to win it. So the Bulls have played nothing but tough competition.
Yeah.
The 21 ranking is no disrespect to them.
It's not.
It's a deep area right now for this sport.
I feel like if we were to do this show in about 6-7 months, we'd have them ranked higher.
Things are going to look a lot different by the end of fall.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead. We'll move on. Number 20, Maryland Venom, 5-12 on the year out of the OMFFL. Wins over Broad Axe, Killer Bees. That's the Killer Bees. Though they did beat the Killer Bees at the 4-state fours in Greencastle in a game that started in Greencastle and we finished in Hagerstown. Long story. The first ever 9-man game to be played in 2 different states. That was the record that day. What's with Venom and Bees and setting milestones?
The snakes and bees apparently got something against each other.
You know, think about it like this. Venom and Bees have played in 3 different states. This 9-man year.
True.
And Venom and Killer Bees played in 2 different states in 1 game.
That is true.
They also, along the way, beat the No Mercy Scorpions. Yeah. Venom beat Scorpions, final week of the season. Cam came in at QB. They got it done. Venom down the stretch actually was looking interesting. That playoff game, that defense held the Bulls out of the end zone 4 times and then went on to win that game. Rampage, they only lost 7-0. That was the final, 7-0 to Rampage. A lot of teams in that predicament would have loved to have lost by that amount. Venom was a team who, while they were 9th place in the league, come Championship Sunday, looked like a team that could have, if a few things went their way, snuck into a semifinal with Rideout, and anything goes any given Sunday.
Right.
I like what Venom does. They also, along the way, they beat Bulls and Elite. And like I mentioned, Broad Axe and No Mercy Scorpions. They beat 2 league champions this year. They beat Broad Axe at Ocean City on day 2, 28-6. Albeit not the Broad Axe that we saw in Washington County this season. They had a little bit of half of those guys, and they didn't have the key players that they had in that county team on that roster. But nonetheless, they got those wins. They beat Bulls and they beat Elite. Quarterfinalist in the OMFFL, where they would lose to Rampage, as mentioned. So Venom number 20 is where I got them right now. Let's go to 19, hashtag Team Petty. They're 3-11 at a Maffle. Their 3 wins are against league champions. The only team to have beaten 3 league champions this season so far.
That's wild.
They beat Broad Axe and Killer Bees on the same day in Ocean City. And albeit it may not have been the league teams they faced, they still got to win on the franchises. It's one of those little weird notes. And then they went on to beat the No Mercy Scorpions in and their only win in Maffle this season.
Damn.
Yeah, their only win was against No Mercy and Maffle.
Huh.
Yeah. Weird year for Petty.
Yeah.
They got to the Sweet 16 back at Nationals, fell to Renegades in a very close competitive game. And, I was saying, Petty had something. Ocean City, they were 2-1. Had a tough draw with Blackhawks on day 2. You don't want to play a league team on day 2. I always say that's the worst time to play a league team.
It always seems to work out that way.
Yeah.
That's the wildest shit.
Yep. One and done in the Maffle playoffs versus AFN. However, Petty and AFN together.
Next tournament coming up was AC, correct?
AC. There was no
And
Petty, but
there's AFN with
a lot of Petty. That was a very interesting squad to look at.
I think they should keep rolling with that.
I like it a lot because it plays into how old school AFN is when it comes to the flag football approach. They always say when you go to war, you want to go to war with somebody you've been at war with for years, somebody who knows your in and outs, because of the fact that you two know how to work your own weaknesses and strengths together against an enemy who don't know you. And while Team Petty on the circuit does not look like it's going to be going on, because we're looking at back-to-back tournaments, and this is a local tournament they're not going to be at. I do think that what could happen with AFN, a lot of potential there. That game they had on in playoffs was very cordial, very cordial. Don't get me wrong. Both teams played their usual level. But there wasn't any bitterness. It wasn't any anger. It was just two friends going at it and playing a fair, clean, decent game. Yep. And I feel like going forward, if they make this relationship happen and work, this could be something big. We'll see. Could be what both sides need. Number 18, the Warriors, 7-3 out of the Washington County Flag Football League.
My favorite team of all time.
Yeah. It's what a year.
Definite bias there.
Total bias. So
myself.
Wins over UNR, Pure Chaos, Ruckus, and Broadaxe.
Yeah, we should have done better.
5 of the wins were against.
That Broadaxe game, though, man.
Yeah.
I've never won the championship for nothing, but that is Warrior football.
That Broadaxe game is one of the greatest games
Warrior football
you could ever watch.
I think it's top game of all time.
But you look at the season for Warriors, 5 wins versus UNR and Chaos is kind of what drags this team down a little bit.
Yeah, it does. I agree with that.
It goes back to the same argument of Ruckus. Ruckus has the same problem. They had all their wins were against UNR and Chaos.
Let's not go back to Ruckus.
I'm just referencing all backwards. We beat Ruckus, so what's it matter? We beat them, so what's it matter? Again.
Yep.
Man, you against Ruckus the last 2 years.
What's it say?
That got pretty ugly.
They got me a couple times, but I was done with that shit.
Oh, once you grew up, it got different.
I was done with that.
Kind of like what happened with you and Wes. Once you grew up, it got different.
Yeah, that's factual as well.
Only team to beat Broadaxe in league play this year ended up falling to the Tri-State Spartans in the semifinals. This team was good. We had a good team on paper. The talent was there. The players were there. Tough draw with Tri-State. And Broadaxe, honestly, I think caught us a little off guard in that first game, going back to it. That hurt a little bit going into playoffs of who we ended up getting. Inconsistencies, and then playoff time, just making mistakes late against Spartans. Some missed calls. We go back to a couple times where the back judge issue kind of reared its head.
Yeah. But I also want to point out it's actually against my team. But the one time we were damn sure we got Keenan Pooler. I'm pretty sure it's the Boo. Baller Stoto's got a perfect shot of that, and the ball is out of Keenan Pooler's hands before the flag is pulled. It's like right when Shane gets there. It's like his hand is on it. You can almost tell but I will say that, and I'm pretty sure that was one of the touchdowns that we were sure that we got him, and I will say that. I'm damn sure it's the same play, and Boo did not get him. That's what.
Sheesh.
Yep.
Yeesh.
The other time, I'm pretty sure we got his ass. But don't leave it.
They got the win.
Don't leave it in.
It's all that matters.
Score more fucking points. Or don't let them score points. If you hold the team to 0, or if you score fucking 100 points, you know what I mean? That's going down at the end of the day. Score 100 points, it's guaranteed to win. If you let the other team score 0 points, they're guaranteed to win.
They were a better team that day.
Yep.
Honestly,
I was talking a lot of shit to Ron Savage. Ron Savage has become MB whatever.
He's become one of the best two-way players in the area.
He has grown up a fuck ton since I have started here and watching him. And I honestly want to say I'm very proud of what he has started to do. He balled the fuck out.
Yeah, Ron has done an excellent job.
He's been balling the fuck out.
Yeah, this is his best year so far. And you got to give him credit. He was retired back in December. No one knew if we'd see him again.
That's me. I used to give him the biggest shit about that too.
So he's back, and he's better than ever. He got us twice in a year. He got us with villains too. I got him though in that time. I told Keith to call a penalty on him for cussing. That was great. I baited a ref into a call.
That was payback.
Yes.
That was payback for the time he said that for, and I exploded up in Greencastle when got a suspension. That was payback for that. That's what that was.
Good times.
Full circle.
Circle of life.
All right, moving on from the Warriors.
My final thought on the Warriors is I really wish we could have seen this team in a different league. The end.
Yeah. Thanks.
But, you get what we paid for. Number 17, X-Dogs 8-6. KFFL wins over Killer Bees, Reckless Villains, West Virginia Venom, Prime Time, and Outlaws. All local league teams. They did beat KFFL champion Bees. Did beat the Villains in a very competitive game earlier in the season before Boone came back. Yeah, calm down over there, mister.
Sorry.
West was that's twice in 5 minutes. You gotta watch yourself. I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you, dog. Chill out. Sorry. Gotta chill out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I sound a little crazy.
I be chilling over.
Yeah, I sound crazy. I got stuff. I'm on some dumb stuff for what's supposed to be a serious episode. Yeesh. All right.
Let's get to it.
Losses. Blackhawks, Riot Squad, AFN, as well as losing to the Bees in the Chip, Villains when Boone came back, and I think that's all the losses. Maybe I miscounted. Who knows? Either way, X-Dogs set at 8-6 right now. Runner-up in the KFFL. They're number 17 at the moment. They definitely have the potential to be up there, but, tough draws in Ocean City. Blackhawks and Riot Squad in the same day. That Riot Squad team was on point in day one. Blackhawks, on the other hand, they got a late win on them. AFN had a comeback on them at the end. Dogs could be higher up. They've missed the opportunities, though. They're a team that could be up there on terms of a top 10 in this area. But at the moment, they're playing to about 17th. They have potential. We won't see them at another tournament, I would imagine, for the rest of the year. They tend to come out for Ocean City. I do hope to see them come back to tournament play more often. I would love to see them in Charm City, but it can be hard to get guys. They're mostly a localized team.
Is KFL playing on Saturdays?
I don't know. I don't get involved in league stuff. Runner-up in KFFL. We'll see what they can do. I'm looking forward to seeing how X-Dogs do the rest of this season. Moving on to number 16 through 13, Blackhawks 7-8 out of Maffle. Key wins, X-Dogs, Playmakers Elite, and Rampage. Pretty good resume there. PME, Rampage, and X-Dogs. Okay. Like Blackhawks, they were champions of Maffle coming into the season. However, they ended up going one and done in the playoffs, losing 18-3 to Dream. 2-2 is their circuit record this year. They got the 2 wins over X-Dogs and Team Petty. 2 losses came to Riot Squad. And on day 2, they fell to Brick Squad. So, tough match against the squad.
Squad term is as bad as the Bees these days.
Everybody's a squad.
Everybody's a squad.
Right now, Blackhawks 7-8, though. They're always up there. They'll always contend. Looking forward to seeing what they bring in the rest of the season. I always like watching them play. They definitely can float up in that top 10 range. They're, like I told Tommy, like they remind me a lot of X-Dogs. Like they are, to me, like the Maffles version of the X-Dogs in regards to style of play, in regards to the leadership, in regards to everything else. Like to me, they're in that same category where if they have their guys that play to a high level, they could be a top team. It just all depends on what they got.
I agree with that.
Number 15 is FOE, 8-6 on the year. They're out of Maffle. Key wins on Dream and the No Mercy Scorpions. That's 2 A teams. So 2 A wins for FOE this year. Number 2 entering the playoffs, only to go one and done to Southside. Southside is a 7 seed, pulled the upset over the 2 seed FOE. Not just that, they beat them earlier that season too, just 2 weeks prior or 3 weeks prior. So they got their number. FOE has gotten better since I saw them in OMFL last year. They were a quarter finalist at or not a quarter finalist. They got to the Sweet 16 at Nationals on day 3. Ended up losing, however, in that round.
I feel like they're a good mix of old talent and new talent.
Yeah.
And they can just find a way to gel it all together. I think they're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Once they gel it all together, we good stuff.
I look forward to seeing what this team is going to grow into as the rest of the year goes on. But, it's just tough draws, man. Like, over in Ocean City, they did well on day 1. But then day 2, they had a buzzsaw straight up at Baez Auto first thing.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
For quarterback, I like him a lot, man.
Bro, he balls.
The way he runs, well, just the way he runs the team, too.
Yeah,
He tells them, like, when they start arguing with the rest of the boys, shut the fuck up. He literally, I saw him do it in Florida.
Good.
He looked at him.
They're a team that they're a fundamentally sound team. They got leadership. They have that potential.
Yeah.
It's just FOE. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. They're an A bracket for Charm City. What are they going to bring? Like, if FOE and A is one of the biggest oddities of the Charm City tournament, because it's one of those, maybe they joined on.
That's what they're about, I think.
I like that.
Put up or shut up.
I like that. That's something that's been a big wave in the area this year, is put up or shut up. If you want to be the best, beat the best.
Yeah. And
I love seeing it. I really love seeing it in this area right now. There's a lot of energy around this flag football game. It's positive, and this FOE squad brings a lot of good energy every week. Yeah. Unfortunately for them, they've just had a problem when it comes to Money Day. They've not gotten a win on Money Day. They lost on day 3 of Nationals. They lost day 2 of OC. One and done in Maffle.
That's the problem with turn. Man, everybody starts partying Saturday night. They forget.
But it's not just partying though. Like, it's all about strategy and coming prepared. So it all depends. Like, Steel, injuries can happen. People sometimes go out and do dumb stuff. That like you mentioned, the party can happen.
I ain't faulting nobody. I'm just saying.
It happens, But sometimes you get buzzsaw draws. Like, you go back. I can't remember who they played on day 3 of Nationals anymore. I actually think it might have been the St. Louis Spartans. Which, if it was the St. Louis Spartans, then that's right there, bad draw day 3. The St. Louis Spartans right out the gate. You go to Ocean City. Baez Auto is your draw. Another runner-up in a championship. And then Maffle this past week. Southside, who almost beat Rampage. That game was 15-7. Southside was very close to sneaking in and playing Scorpions for everything. Which, to put it in perspective, that's a local Maffle team of guys who don't normally travel like that, who go out and play. They did have some big pickups. They had David Butler come in. They had Troy Carroll come in. That helped out a lot. But for the most part, they had their core guys there. And that Southside team got the win on FOE. And we go back. FOE's they've had some bad draws. Just not day 2 or 3 just has not been fortunate to them so far. Second place in Maffle.
Start expecting the unexpected.
Well, the thing, and they could play on that A level. They beat Dream and Scorpions.
I agree.
We'll see what happens though. I'd see how FOE does the rest of the way.
That's my bullet down point for FOE. Perfect combination of old and new. Just make it gel. I think they're figuring it out.
I think they are too. Number 14, Tri-State Spartans, 17-7 out of the KFFL Washington County League. Primarily, I consider them a KFFL team. Mostly because I felt like KFFL was a stronger overall league.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like,
which we'll get to that a little bit later. And they had a better season there. And they had their full team there. They had Damn Dame.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. The Spartans without Damn Dame is not the team at UC. He was a big impact player on that defense. They could have used him in Washington County. They really could have used him. And he's a player that if they get on that squad for circuit ball, they could have something big.
Especially the playoffs, just for all that.
Yeah. But you look at this Tri-State Spartans team, they played 24 games so far this year, and God knows how many exhibitions as well.
What are you playing?
No, I was just like stretching my hand out.
You need a fucking
Nah,
say that shit.
yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't know.
I'd rather have you just say, "Hey, man, I need a fucking beer," and just do your fucking weird reach out, whatever the fuck you just did.
It was me again. Just.
I'm just saying.
I got you, Ross. I got you, Ross.
Your time.
It's Groundhog Day.
Is it really?
Yeah,
no,
it's Don Hog Day. Tri-State Spartans, man. Oh, how many? They've had their heart ripped out of them every time they've made a championship game in the history of that franchise. You go back to Ruckus, back in the B bracket of 2016.
Watch ground.
Don Hog Day.
Don Hog Day.
Ruckus in 2016. Luckily, it wasn't filmed. Last second touchdown win. Earl Thorne in the end zone, winning it for them. You go back, spring 17, B championship. Earl Thorne, I'm going way back. B championship, spring 17. Ricky Miller to Ryan Lockhart in the back of the end zone. Top Gun wins B. After going 0-9 in the regular season.
Man.
Fall 17, B championship. Andy Hoffman and the Knights put on a clinic, 32 points. They crushed the Spartans to win that. You go back, B championship, fall 19. Program rallies back to beat the Spartans to win it. You go forward. We're still not done yet. We're still going. 4 state fours. Robbie Sparks and Venom. The touchdown run Robbie had, 26-19. Venom beat Spartans. Ocean City. C bracket championship. That one dude knocked over Bucket Hat. Remember that?
Oh, Bucket Hat.
Good old Bucket Hat.
Good old Bucket Hat.
I love that clip. That clip to me is so fun.
Oh, that's a classic. Bro.
The clip.
Pulled up.
Number 5. No.
That's what you need to start doing. You need to start having these clips.
It would have taken forever to get that done. Yeah.
And we're already running out.
Yeah. Number 50, consider yourself suspended. Who was that? I don't know who that was. Is he suspended?
We'd have to go back.
Can we get Jamie Wolf on? Does Jamie Wolf have verification? Did he get suspended?
Don't do that to Jamie. Man.
No, I'm not going to do that to Jamie. Let him have fun. All love to Jamie. All love to 9-man. We're just having fun tonight. It's a ranking show. Before we do the serious ranking show in like a week or two. Tri-State Spartans, though. He wins. They beat the Killer Bees and Warriors. 5, and this is where it kind of drags this team down. 5 wins over UNR, Pure Chaos, and Outlaws, who go for a combined 1-26.
Right.
So 5 of their wins out of the 17 are against teams who are 1-26. And you put that down, suddenly they're 12-7. Like, yeah, they've won 17 games. That's a lot. That's actually 17.
This is a respectable ranking for them.
Yeah, because when you look at it, the strength of schedule is not there. Don't get me wrong. In Ocean City, they had to play Bad Boys, Baez, and they did match up against Bad Boys. And, they did beat 7-1-7 Elite. They did beat the Killer Bees. And they did go on to play AFN. It's just one of those things. If the Spartans could finish the job, if they had beaten Bad Boys in Ocean City and maybe made a run in B or beaten AFN, they definitely have shown they can hang with these teams. They just can't break through.
The W is all in there.
Yeah, that's a problem. They can't get the win. They just can't get past the ceiling. The ceiling's not even glass at this point. It's concrete. They can't get past it. And and they're close. But it's like, This has always been the problem. This was the problem with the Greencastle Spartans. This was the problem with Food Lion. They would be this close and just not get it. We're seeing it right now with the Tri-State Spartans. It's the Gold's Gym PG Hitman legacy. You're this close, but you just can't get it.
Gotta be quicker than that.
They got to be quicker than that. You go 8-0 in KFFL and blow a 14-0 lead. They were close to winning county. They could have beaten Broadex. They could have won both leagues.
They should have beaten.
You know what the wild thing about the Spartans is? They are tied for the second most 9-man wins this season among any team in the country.
I know they think
but they're dragged down by the fact that those 5 wins are UNR, Chaos, and Outlaws.
I know they think I'm like one of their number 1 haters, but they should have beat Broadex.
They should have. They should have gotten more wins. They could have beat Bad Boys. They could have. It's a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda with this team. They're 17-7, which is a good record for them. Don't get me wrong. This is their best team yet, but
if they keep going, man, shit.
They can do it. I don't know what they got for Charge City. People forget. They're going to be a Charge City.
Yeah.
They could move up. Honestly,
I'm very interested to see what they have.
Let's put it like this. Had they finished the job and won both leagues and won the C bracket, they'd be in the top 5, top 10 range right now. They'd be that G5 team, that Boise State squad, that Utah team, that TCU, that mid-major that could. That's what the Spartans could be in all
Don
this.
could have that special Spartans green fucking turf.
You're goofy. It's a serious show. Come on.
He put oranges in there.
They went Hurricanes. They've gone from Washington Redskins to the Miami Hurricanes. Number 13, but they're going to get, like I said, though, give the Spartans time. They could get there. They just, you think about think about it like this.
Oh, shit.
What?
No.
Oh.
Go ahead.
You got me thrown off. Is it a comment or something? You have me in a loop now. Oh, you got a text. Uh-huh. Anyways. Like I said, you take away the 3 losses in playoffs and the championship scenarios, they're sitting at 20-4, 3 rings, and we're talking about a top 5, top 10 team that could be that kind of Boise State-esque team. But they can't finish the job. They're there, but they're not there. They're here, not there. They're close, but no cigar. Number 13, Killer Bees. This will not age well. 7-7 out of the KFFL. League champion over the X-Dogs. They got wins over the Tri-State Spartans.
I mean, it does make sense. They won.
All right, let's put it like this. The Killer Bees are a weird-ass team at this point. This is a team that every game played an entirely different lineup to the point where it was 5 different teams going on in one season. You had Ant playing QB at times.
I feel that, though.
One week you had Ant. 1 week you had Houston. 1 week you had Nick Aliff. 1 week you had Tay. 1 week you might have had Tanner Carty. They were all over the place this year. Ocean City, they had Josh Floyd, for crying out loud. They brought Josh Floyd in an OC to play quarterback against Petty and Long Island Demons. This team, then you throw Houston in there. Jesus. Well, your offense is not consistent. Yeah, you got defense. You have Carlos in there. And Houston.
I think their defense was more consistent than offense, though, right?
Their defense carried them in OC. That defense deserved better than what it got in OC. Like, it did. They played way too hard against Petty and Demons and Spartans to just go 0-3 and only give up maybe 4 scores all weekend. Like, that was a B championship defense they had, and they weren't able to, like, get it. They played really well. And so you look at the Bees, and They did get wins, but their wins, they beat Spartans, X-Dogs, Primetime twice, Venom twice, and Outlaws. That's it. The biggest reason they're up here at the moment is just what they had at the end of the playoffs. It's momentum.
They won the ship.
They won the ship. They have momentum.
They won a league ship.
But I can't guarantee they'll even be in the top 20 at the end, or even top 25 when this is all said and done by the end of fall. I don't know what this team is now. They're not getting back the same guys.
I don't think.
Like I said, what's it say when half your team is chanting another team's name after you won a championship? That's like marrying a woman and then fucking her and she's chanting her ex's name the whole time. Or your brother's name, even worse. I'm just saying.
Jesus.
I'm really on one tonight. I must be.
Yeah, you went into a little tangent there.
I'm just saying.
I think we should just move on to the next part of the list.
This is why this is the top and you're the bottom.
Oh shit!
Hey, I brought back.
Don't shit on Rampage like that, though. You better switch them out then.
That doesn't. Hold on, Rampage.
Yeah,
please, for the love of God.
Don't shit on Rampage.
Hold on. Give me a longer jersey and I can make it work.
Yeah,
this doesn't cover enough of the window.
We need a better Rampage jersey.
To be fair, it was a donation.
Winner.
As long, send me like send me the gorilla one you guys tried to maffle when Steve played quarterback.
You need something bigger.
That's why that's kind of the bottom now is because it doesn't
be
have enough
like
space.
A t-shirt or whatever. A hoodie be dope.
Maybe I can hit up.
I would definitely rock Rampage shit everywhere I went. It's got to Maryland. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, I have seen in comments.
Congratulations on your another championship in KFL, Killer Beast. I know you feel like everybody's been shitting on you, and it really doesn't look good. But congratulations.
And then what about one more? They'll catch up to me on championships.
Gotta control.
And that's a big statement.
But some things need to be controlled. It'll be all right.
Yeah, they'll get it right. Give it time.
Hire me, Killer B. Hire me.
Hire you?
I'm looking to coach in KFL next season.
Anybody wants a coach in KFFL? Ross Collins is available. My advertiser voice.
I charge, but like it's not much. I don't ask for much. A Gatorade and a blunt, yeah.
Parks and Rec will not like
get
that.
Your team right.
Parks and Rec will not like that.
The blunt part is outside the fence. It's all good.
Shh, they watch our show.
Do they?
Everybody watches our show. We got whole committees watching our show.
I really don't think Pennsylvania Parks and Rec like that.
Bro, I'm telling you.
It's not even. It's even worse than
that. Bro, they're watching us. They all watching us. Watch yourself.
We'll tell them we can make a commercial for them.
Number 12, AFN, 9-10 on the year out of Maffle. Ocean City C champion against the Tri-State Spartans. Key wins, X-Dogs, Spartans, Dreams, Southside, Dragons, and Blackhawks. Quarterfinalists in Maffle to the No Mercy Scorpions. People have been ragging on AFN for a good bit. People have been laughing at AFN a little bit. We might have made a joke or two on AFN a little bit. But at the same, you.
What did I say?
Yeah.
I didn't say shit.
Yeah, you did. Anyways, AFN has had a lot of misfortune in games for the last year and a half. You go back to Justin Fox missing the game-winning field goal against the Wolfpack. And then the next time we saw AFN was in Clash of York, and they lose late to Baez. They lose late to the Blackhawks. And they get it, and then they had to draw the Scorpions right first thing the next morning. Then at Nationals, they had to play against Nomads, who was always a tough draw with them. They had to also go up against, as well, the St. Louis Spartans. Nothing's been easy for AFN. OMFFL playoffs. They had to play against Rampage. This is a team that, while, yeah, they're not winning, they're still in it. They're still fighting. They're still alive. Ocean City, they had tough luck. They won. They didn't have half their team there. And they had to go up against the Maryland Titans, who they still play tough. And against, yeah.
Titans aren't no these days.
Yeah. And against Brick Squad, who we saw how good Brick Squad was by the end of the tournament. AFN had tough luck. And then day 2, they won that C championship the affiliate way. Fighting through adversity, toughness, going to battle with their brothers, fighting in the trenches. Trail with the comeback again. The comeback part 2 by Trail against the X-Dogs this time.
Right.
They beat Venom in the semis, and then against Spartans had a dog fight. AFN, people will bag on them. But, you look at it. They've beaten X-Dogs, Spartans, Dreams, Southside, Dragons, and Blackhawks. They got to win an AC against Dragons. They should have got one on the Rebels. Only lost by 1 to the Demons. They're in every game. They have the same problem the Spartans do, just finishing the job.
Yeah.
2 years ago, they were really good at finishing the job. So much so they won 2 straight tournaments doing it and got to 4 straight championships finishing the job. 3 years ago, they finished the job and won Washington County. AFN, while people will bag on AFN.
Which I know it's Washington County, but that was not an easy task.
That was a very tough Washington
that
County.
Was not an easy task at that point.
That was a very good league that year that they won. And they had 2 tough games with Program and ADR. AFN, for as much scrutiny as they get, for as much laughter people have thrown at them, are one of the teams, the more successful teams in this area the last 3 years. The last 4 or 5 years.
People know what AFN's about, man. They gonna talk their shit.
They'll make it back. The Nation.
They're gonna stick you here and there. They play old school football.
The Nation.
I really, really like it.
Yeah.
I do, man. I like it.
Their old school approach has always worked. Yeah. They're very versatile. And, if them and Petty can make something happen, I think this Nation will get out of its recession. And you'll see a booming economy out of it.
Come back around. Full circle.
We'll see how they do. Like I said, tough draws and tournaments.
It should be ranked higher in Southside too. But here we go.
We'll talk about that in a moment. With AFN, you talk about who they draw in these tournaments. Like the losing streak that some made fun of. They had to play NTB Wolfpack, Baez Auto, Blackhawks, Scorpions, Nomads, St. Louis Spartans, Maryland Titans, Brick Squad. It's a ridiculous slate. Yeah. That just shows you how deep, though, 9-man B as a whole, or 9-man in general, is right now. The parity is insane. Even teams who are still reasonably good teams could go down a little bit. And AFN, though, right now I got them number 12 in the area. They're down, but they're not out. They got a whole second half of the year ahead. Let's see what they can do. Number 11, Southside Underdogs, 5-5. It's a team that's going to be probably up for a little bit. This ranking mate will probably not last. It depends on what they do in the fall and what they do in Charm City Classic. Their wins were against Blackhawks, AFN, and FOE. They got FOE twice, actually, as we mentioned earlier, twice in about 3 games. And with that, in the win over AFN, I put them over the affiliates. They weren't at OC, but, as I learned about Southside, they're a more localized team. They like to go out and play their league ball. A lot of their guys do want to go out and get more experience and play. They're going to be in Charm City. They were actually supposed to play in Capital Classic before that was canceled last year. I really look forward to seeing more of them. I did not get a chance to catch them outside of the final 2 minutes of that game against FOE. They played Rampage very tough. They had a lot of key pieces brought in that helped out for that. 15-7 was the final there. Southside truly is the underdog when it comes to all this. And I really, really look forward to seeing what this team can do at the Charm City Classic. They're going to be there. They're going to be in that tournament. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Southside can do. And, they get that win over Rampage. Shit, we're talking the top 10 team almost at this point. It's tough, though. Like I said, we got a long, long season ahead. After
like a feeder team for them.
We got something going on. We got a lot going on. Not necessarily at all. Nah, it's not the case. I like what Southside's been doing, though. Number 10, Bad Boys, 8-10-1 out of the OMFFL. Key win, Baez Auto, Tri-State Spartans, Long Island Ducks, and the No Mercy Scorpions. Those were their key wins so far this year. Their worst loss is probably the Bulls by far. That was a random out of nowhere loss. 8-0 was the final. I wouldn't say a little random, though. The Bulls played them very well in OC weeks earlier.
I think the Bulls got that win.
And it's kind of weird when you look at this Bad Boys team. Back in March, this was supposed to be an A team. This team was going to play A. They went down to B for OC. And they had a tough draw, don't get me wrong. We mentioned those wins they had. Baez, Tri-State in that first day alone. That's against the runner-up of a tournament and the eventual runner-up of another league, who was the runner-up of the C of that tournament. That's a tough draw. Yeah. That's number 14 in a team in Baez and a team in the Spartans. And Baez, who, had they played a little more, probably could have cracked the top 10. If York were the 9-man league, they could have gotten something more. We know, you and I both know for a fact Baez is top 10 in this region. They're just not they got to make the qualification. You got to play 8. That's the rule. Got to play a full season.
Fair enough.
But like I said, after Charm City, we'll see Baez on there because they would have hit past that mark. Yeah. Bad Boys, they had to play the Bulls first thing the next morning. League game, tough draw. Then they played the Long Island Ducks out of the GCFFA, a team that plays A up there. They play against the Bulldogs, the Punishers, and the Lions. And then finally, No Mercy Scorpions. They beat them. But then in that playoff, in the B bracket, they lost to Rampage. In the semifinal, 7-6 was the score. And
that's wild.
Bro, that was a tough game.
That's a bitch.
Now you want to know?
That's a bitch.
You want to know what's even crazier though? 3-9 is their record since Ocean City. If you count the Rampage game, they are 3-10 in their last 13.
I like a lot of.
They've lost 10 out of their last 13 games.
They were definitely on a.
They've been on a bit of a downturn. They're still top 10. Don't get me wrong. I'd put the Bad Boys against any of those teams below them. Right. But right now, and even the team above them, I'd put them against, honestly. But right now, the Bad Boys, they played, like I said, they played a tough schedule. AC, they played the Browns, I believe. The GCFFA Browns. And I believe they also played another GCFFA team in the AC. And then day 2, they beat Venom, but only to lose the ride out right afterwards. I look forward to seeing what the Bad Boys can do. Like I said, they're still – I don't know if this marriage is working right now. I don't know if this relationship is working out with the merger of Renegades and Aftermath. Like, the defense is still there. I just feel like the offense is not the same. There's just something different to it that I've noticed. Maybe it's just me. But I just don't feel like this is the Renegades or Aftermath team we saw last fall.
Well, even Jaleel said he didn't have his best season. I mean, it'd be like that sometimes.
It does. We'll see what they do. Plenty of time.
I think they're going to be just fine.
We'll see. Number 9, Broadaxe, 9-4 out of the Washington County Flag Football League. Key wins over the Tri-State Spartans. 3 times they beat the Spartans. 3-0 in those games. Broadaxe did not lose to them.
All I heard was 9-4, and I know we're counting one of those 4s.
You are one of those. That was the other key win over the Warriors. Those are Broadaxe's 2 best wins. On the circuit, they did play in Ocean City. OC, though, they had a light roster. They had maybe about 14 of their guys, and about 9 or 10 of them were all over 40. It was kind of a reunion tour of the band, except they didn't have the band there. Like, the drummer didn't come, and the bass player was sick, so his nephew came in to play the bass. They did have one of the lead singers, though, from one of their time periods, but not the lead singer of the band, the backup lead singer, who was just as good, don't get me wrong, you know. Sammy Hagar, David Lee Roth, Van Halen kind of thing, AC/DC kind of thing, Bon Scott, and
yeah, we get it.
Who's the other guy?
Yeah.
Ryan Jones?
Yeah, that's not even a good reference. If you have to say who's the other guy, it's not a good reference.
No, I just don't remember the name of the other artist of AC/DC after Bon. No. Well, we know he was just as good. He's the one who sung.
Everybody knows who Murder is.
Well, I know who Bon Scott is, but I just can't remember the other AC/DC lead singer. That's what I'm saying. He was actually just as good as Bon Scott, though. No, he's the one who sung Back in Black.
If he was just as good, you would remember his name.
No, I just suck at remembering names, asshole.
You just went to remembering random ass old people's ass names. And yeah.
Shut up. It's actually big. I'm actually getting mad that I can't remember the second AC/DC lead singer.
You should be mad.
Yeah, because he sung Back in Black. And, like,
yeah,
he was just as good as Bon Scott.
Should be mad. Back to Broadaxe.
Back to Broadaxe. Enough with the 1970s and 80s rock and roll references. Great food. I went on a date there last month. Great times.
Took the Lou through there.
Yeah, we took the Lou there too. Yeah. Went to the Lou in the beginning of the month, had a date there at the end of the month. Good times.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Full circle. I've been saying
circle of life. Enough BS. This is one of the worst episodes.
You definitely gonna have to edit that out. Yeah. All right. Moving on to Broadaxe. Key wins.
Us and the Spartans.
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did win the championship.
Yeah. And honestly, if not for blowing,
good for them, man.
If not for blowing the lead, they would be sitting at 10-3 right now. And if they had their county team, I think Ocean City would have gone a lot better for them.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, their county.
Yeah,
their county team was loaded. That was a good ass team they had. They didn't have. They didn't have a third of those guys at OC.
Look, I know.
They only had like a third of that team there.
Going back to,
and they still play Demons tough.
I just think I'm one of his biggest haters, but I love that motherfucker, man.
Bro, if their D line was Ridenauer, Kaja, and Malcolm for that tournament,
I started calling Crazy Kaja before people started calling Crazy Nick.
Cool story.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's all I kept hearing about was Kaja,
bro. Kaja, guess.
Nobody can block him. Like, what the fuck's wrong with y'all motherfuckers, man? It ain't that hard. He comes for us.
Not everybody is Ross Collins.
Once you absorb that first fucking, dude, he'll line up fucking 10 yards off the ball. But way over there, all you gotta do is absorb that first little. He might bite your nose. He'll fucking bite your ear, Mike Tyson style. But that's all you gotta do.
That's why he should be on the circuit. He'd be like one of the best. He's an A caliber lineman. They were really missing him. They were really missing Kaja.
Aubrey Stewart said he was top 5 D lineman in flag football in the country.
That Aubrey's top 5?
Yeah.
Aubrey's not top. Aubrey's top 5?
No. Aubrey trying to say that about Kaja.
Kaja? He probably is. Kaja just hasn't been good. Why are you critical of Kaja right now? He's got a chip and you don't.
What I was going to say was, I started thinking about it, And he's definitely not top 5, but I'll give him top 15, top 20.
But say top 5 would be a reach because of the fact that he has potential to get up there if he like stays at the A caliber level. Like he definitely could play on that level,
especially at DN because a lot of top teams.
That's what Broadax was missing.
Interior D-line.
Broadax really could have used Kaja, Malcolm, and all the other rest of the team they had. Coley, TJ, Lucas, Cortez. Like they had some. If Broadax had their league team in OC, that's a team that's getting to the quarterfinals.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. It's just they didn't have it. They had 3 of the losses there to Petty, Demons, and Venom, which you look at the rankings, Petty and Venom lowly ranked. But like I said, it wasn't the Broadax team that we saw in Washington County.
And that's not the Demons team that we referred to earlier.
No, and the joke is so Demons, like I said, GCFFA, A division team. Yeah. They play tough teams up there in the GCFFA. But overall, Broadax number 9 in this ranking. I don't know if they're coming back. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like I said, if we see them again, cool. If not, this is a good ending spot for them. We're ranking. Going on now to the 8 through 5. Number 8, Playmakers Elite, 5-4 out of Maffle. They returned the 9-man after a 1.5 year long absence due to COVID. I think they did have a little bit of bump, though, before they went down when COVID struck Maffle last year. But we're going to say a 1.5 years because that's not really consistent. That's just a one-off deal. Quarterfinalists in Maffle to Rampage. This is a case of, damn, what a terrible draw. Because this game, Rampage and PME, easily could have been a championship game if the bracket was a little laid out differently.
I remember watching the end of that game.
That was a wild game, dude. And PME, had they gotten that, they're playing Scorpions. I don't think Southside would have gotten PME. I think PME would have gotten to the championship.
I agree.
Yeah, like this is a team that people have forgotten about, people were sleeping on. There's still lines. They're coming back. That's why they're number 8 in my rankings, because I can see the potential in PME.
Especially if they start doing we talked about earlier, 5-man type stuff.
Yeah,
and other stuff.
Exactly. And honestly, I think DO and company are getting tired of hearing about these dream guys who come along.
They're not called Playmakers Elite for no reason.
They're not, but they're going to make it.
Cute.
Mm-hmm. That's a hell of a squad they got.
The diva over there.
That team.
He is wild.
Yeah. Our guy Q. Shout out to him. I like what's going on with PME, though. They're 5-4, but this is a team that once they had everybody back and once they get it together, they're going to be in the top 10 the rest of the way. Maybe even sticking to the top 5. We'll see what Playmakers Elite can do. I'm really excited about that.
Come back strong.
I'm excited to see what PME is going to do. Hi, I'm actually still on air. I'll call you back later. Thank you. Anywho, number 7 on the ranking is Dream, 6-12 on the year. They're out of Maffle. They've had about 6 losses on the circuit to Strong Island Bulldogs, Main Event Rollers, and the Lions. 2 of those losses are to Strong Island. That's the thing about Dream is some will say 6-12. What are they doing up here? You got to think about it. Those losses overall, the 6 total they have on the circuit are the teams up north who are easily in the top 10 of the country in Bulldogs, Main Event, Rollers, and Lions. You take away those circuit games where they've been playing on A against the north the whole time since they've gotten here. Dream is 6-6 with key wins over Playmakers Elite, Rampage, FOE, and Blackhawks. So they've definitely been beating some very talented squads. Like, this is a team that is easily top 10, in my opinion, in Dream right now. And with how young they are, they can only grow from here.
Going back to my assessment of FOE, kind of a combination of old and new. It's more old, just coaching them up, and the new is on its way up. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Dream can do here in the next couple months.
I am too. I really like this Dream Squad. And like I said, they played a tough schedule. They played Strong Island twice. They played Main Event. They played the Lions. They played the Rollers. Like, it's not been easy for Dream so far. But they're going to get better as they keep playing the best.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yes, sir. Going up now, as I said, Dream ended up being the semifinalist in Maffle, falling to the No Mercy Scorpions. That was a 1-point game. 7-6 was the final. Could have gone either way. Dream very easily could have been playing for a championship in Maffle, but fell just short to the Scorps. We'll see how Dream grows throughout the year. We're going to move on now to number 6 on the rankings, the Elite Rebels, 6-10-1. Their key wins are against the Rollers, the Titans, and Rideout. However, they've had losses to Main Event along the way, Strong Island, Lions, Rams. Yeah, this is a tough schedule they played. Yeah, Main Event, Bulldogs twice. Remember, they played them in OC and again in AC. In fact, it was a lot better in the AC rematch. That was 28-27 was the final there against the eventual champions of that tournament. Lions, they ended up playing them tough. That was 35-34 against them.
Yeah.
That was a wild game.
I heard the Rebels should have won.
Rebels had a shot.
A call here or there. Well, I don't know.
Man, if only I filmed that game. Right, TJ? Rampage. That game was a 6-point game. That was very close as well. That came down to the end.
The Rebels good squad.
Yeah. No Mercy Scorpions. They lost to them on Sunday at AC. Tough draw after playing Main Event in Strong Island on day one.
And they got one of the best flag pullers I've ever seen since being in the flag pulling game.
They play good fundamental ball. The defense has been a bit of a problem for them this season. They've had a tough time against these offenses, but the offense right now in that A division is absolutely insane at this moment. Like, the caliber of quarterbacks and talent across the board is ridiculous. And, they got a weapon of their own in TJ Holston, who has shown he is an A-level quarterback. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And what this team has been able to do this year has been phenomenal. Like we say, 6-10-1, not a great record, one and done in MFL playoffs, lost there to Rideout, but they didn't have TJ that game. You give this team everybody they have, the team they had at OC and AC, they can make a run. Like, they definitely have some misfits. They lost that game by a point late in OMFFL after they had a tough time in OC with them. They have grown a lot. This Elite Rebel squad is only going to get better, and I look forward to seeing how they progress throughout the rest of this year. Number 5 on the rankings is Rideout, 10-6-1 out of the OMFFL. They got some key wins on Bad Boys, Rampage, and Elite Rebels. They've owned the Bad Boys for a good bit. They actually donated them both times they played them this year.
That's factual.
Once in AC and the other time in OMFFL. They also, along the way, they beat Rampage in the semifinals at AC 6-0. That was, or 6-2 rather. That was a dog fight between those two. Old school defensive battle going on there. One of the few teams to get a win on Rampage this year in the many games Rampage has played. And you look at it as well, Rideout. They beat the Elite Rebels in OMFFL in the playoffs. They got the win there in that quarterfinal matchup. 5-1 is their record in circuit play this year. The only loss came in the championship to Empire in Atlantic City. They lost that game 6-0. But before that, they were not surrendering a single point that weekend.
Balling out, bro.
What? They had a historic defense. Very close.
Balling out.
Very close to being in very close to getting that 4 spot. This is a team that in every game they've been in it. They've been tough. This is the best ride-out squad I think I've seen. And, following the squad they had in 2019 at semifinalists against Scorpions, I feel like this 2021 squad is going to do more. We'll see what they can do the rest of the way. Right now, I got them at number 5.
One of my favorite teams, man.
Same here.
For Gatorade, Shade.
Great people overall. They're really nice. Treat us well. Play great ball.
ADE.
A lot of respect for Rideout. Semifinalists and OMFFL to Rampage. That was a close game. Always a battle with Rideout and Rampage. Yeah. It's been
AC.
Yeah, it's been a good year for Rideout flag football. Let's go ahead.
I wish I could have offered them more in AC, man.
Yeah.
Phone, it was hot as shit.
Yeah, AC was a little rough on our end.
I know you all know, but it was hot as fuck.
Yeah, it was. All right. 4 through 1. Here's what we got.
Yeah.
I got to put this in full screen to see it. Number 4, I got the Maryland Titans, 11-6-1 out of the OMFFL. Key wins along the way: AFN, the Demons, Rideout, No Mercy, Bad Boys, and Misfits.
Meat the bone here.
Yeah, this is a really good Maryland Titans team. This is the best Titans team I do believe they have fielded in the last few years. Maybe even the best one they've had yet.
Oh,
like this squad is on a whole other level.
From what I see from the Titans, from starting out, from literally the first time I heard about Titans was what? Hagerstown.
Hagerstown's
18?
18, yeah. I saw them in 16 when they beat the Red Knights for the chip.
Right.
And I was impressed by the Titans. Old school physical team. The next year I saw them in Hagerstown, they fell short the Broad Axe in the semifinals. But they played a very good Broad Axe team close. Last few years been tough. They weren't able to get a lot of tournament wins.
Was that the game Brock played?
For Broad Axe? Yeah, Brock played for Broad Axe. Yeah, he played against them.
I think I remember watching that.
Yeah, that was a wild game. Broad Axe and Titans a few years ago. Yeah. Two teams a lot different now, for sure.
Oh, man.
And this Titans team this year, you look at it, they got wins over A teams and Rideout, Scorpions, and Misfits. They almost had the Scorpions triple overtime in that semifinal. What a wild game that was. The battle between Doc and Proc. Quarterfinalists as well at the Rampage and Ocean City B. You go back to what they did at Nationals. They were the quarterfinalists there to Rampage. Quarterfinalists to the Renegades in York. They have made a big turn since last fall. And I think the addition of Doc has really been a huge part of that. He's brought on a huge part of leadership. The turnaround for that team has been impressive. They're a top 5 team, number 4 right now, my current rankings. They've proven they could play. Circuit-wise, they have struggled a little bit. They did go 3-1 in OC, but AC was a tough draw. Ended up falling to the Browns in day 2. Really tough draw with the GCFFA Browns. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing.
Being named the Browns, they're pretty damn good.
Yeah, better than the Browns we have.
Yeah.
KFFL.
AKA Outlaw.
Yeah.
Then we started this list.
Quite the contrast. Honestly, with the Maryland Titans, I really like what this team is doing right now. They're number 4, in my opinion, in the area. Yeah.
I've always rooted for them.
Yeah, I've always had a soft spot for them because of that Hagerstown tournament I saw them in.
Remember Zeke played for them.
Yeah, he did pop up once.
Zeke played for them in 2018. That's kind of how I specifically remember them.
Huh.
So I was like, "Here you play for Titans." I was like, "Who?"
Yeah, I remember. I remember them from that first tournament up there in Hagerstown. They beat
with the Maryland flag.
Yeah, they made the change to purple recently. I like the purple change. I think. Too. Yeah, that gives them their own identity outside of the state flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, less confusion with Rampage with that. Yeah, that was a good move. We'll see what they do. They got a long season ahead.
On the way up.
Number 3 is the Misfits, 10-7 out of the OMFFL. Key wins against the Elite Rebels, No Mercy Scorpions, Ride Out, and the Punishers. That's an impressive resume of wins right there. They got the win on Rebels twice. They beat the Scorpions twice, once in OMFL and 8 OC, which is the Rebels.
They dragged them out for the playoffs, bro.
That was a battle with them and Scorps in playoffs.
Yeah,
Tough draw in that quarterfinals, man.
I'm glad you picked that field that day, by the way.
Yeah, that was a long day. But that Scorpions Misfits game is one of the best games you'll ever see. A battle between two teams who were definitely the best in the league. It was an unfortunate draw for the Misfits that had to play the Scorpions right out the gate like that. We talk about kind of that Rampage PME game. Very tough draw right out the gate for both sides.
Tournament style Scorpions came fully loaded that day.
Yeah. What a battle that was.
Totally different team.
Misfits, they've had an interesting year. We mentioned the 7 losses. They fell in OMFFL league play 3 different times. Scorpions got them. Rampage got them. Titans got them. That was a big game, Titans and Misfits, a few weeks ago. Very close margin between them and Titans. This was tough. I between them and Titans, I thought about Titans at 3. But I said, I feel like that game would have been a little different with Chris Boone and company in there. I think Misfits would have gotten the win that day.
I would honestly rank Titans higher than Misfits, but that's just me.
Well, Misfits, like I said, they played a tough schedule. Like you go back to OC, they played the Lions, the Scorpions, and the Elite Rebels. They had to play the Lions twice in OC, semifinalists there. AC, they played Punishers and 148 Outlaws.
Yeah, they have had a tough ass schedule.
Yeah, and then you look at it next day. Right at the gate, takeover right at the GCFFA. We'll see what the Misfits can do the rest of the way. 10-7 is their record right now. I feel like they are the best franchise in flag football in this region. They play 9-man, they play 5-man, 7-man AFFL style.
Right.
They got a big month ahead. They got a big year ahead. This team ain't going away.
No, hell no.
They even got a KFFL championship this year.
Working on those.
Back to back. Number 2.
I mean, like you said, why not put your team in it? If half the team just won ships changed anyway.
Might as
well.
Number 2, Rampage, 26-5-2.
This is where I was wondering where you're gonna go with this.
So hear this out. This is more of a 1A and 1B. This is so tough that you're, man.
I agree with that.
I want to point out Rampage's record first and foremost: 26-5-2.
Honestly,
Rampage has played 33 9-man games since April.
Man, they're everywhere.
Not just that. If you want to count nationals,
they're everywhere.
If you want to count nationals,
and they prevail. They keep playing.
If you want to count nationals, that number's 39 games this year. If you want to count the off season, that number balloons to about 45.
Y'all better stop counting now.
If you want to count Charm City Classic, we'll be at 48 minimum by the end of the tournament. 48
number 1 just because of that.
The workload they put in has been insane.
I think they should be number 1 because of that.
But they got
over fucking qualified.
The resume, bro.
Dude, it is.
They've had a hell of a resume.
It's either way.
They beat the Titans in OC and at Nationals. They beat the Bad Boys in OC and in League Ball. They beat Baez Auto in OC. They beat the Misfits in League Ball. They beat Ride Out in League Ball. Twice, actually. They beat Ride Out twice in League Ball. They beat the Elite Rebels in League Ball. They beat the No Mercy Scorpions in the championship of OMFFL. And they beat PME in the MAFL playoffs. You look at that, Rampage has a win over what is 5 total A teams on that list. So actually 6 wins. 6 A wins this year by Rampage, bro. They have 6. Ocean City B champion over Baez. AC semifinalist to Ride Out. OMFFL champion over No Mercy. 26-5-2. Best record out of any team. But I'm going to have to hold on.
Best record out of any team. But it's the power rankings.
Nah, Scorpions, man. You got to give it to the Scorpions. Number one is who I got there. Their resume is just as good in my eyes.
Number 2.
They got 2 wins on the Blazers. They got 2 wins on the Elite Rebels. They beat the Misfits. They beat the Maryland Titans. They beat AFN. They beat PME. They beat the Blackhawks. I'm not done. They beat Dream. They beat Rampage. That's the Blazers. That's Rob Lane Blazers, by the way, not the fake Blazers from Florida. That's 2 wins in the weekend on Rob Lane. That's along the way beating the number 6 Elite Rebels, the number 3 Misfits, the number 4 Titans, number 12 AFN, number 8 PME. Blackhawks are mid-range, but albeit MAFL champions coming into the season. Number 7 Dream, and then number 2 Rampage. You can't argue that resume. Just as good as Rampage, not as good as the record, but the Scorpions along the way have 5 losses to Rollers, Strong Island, Misfits, Lions, and Main Event. AC, a semifinalist to Main Event. Mike D and Greg Proctor both threw 2 interceptions in that game. Could have easily gone either way. 14-6 was the final.
Matchup. Proc versus Mike D.
OMFFL runner-up to Rampage. MAFL champion over Rampage.
Greg Proctor is watching. How the fuck did he know we were talking about him? How the fuck did he know we were talking about Greg old Proctor?
I'm just saying. No Mercy is my number 1. I know Rampage is yours, but
yeah, it is.
We'll see what happens after AC.
Not AC. That is literally negative disrespect to No Mercy Scorpion. Negative. What I was going to say was there are the fly under the radar, the B fucking 52 stealth bombers of flag football. Right when you think, oh, shit, they didn't do shit, whatever, yeah. They'll come out and smack you right in the mouth. Shut you right the fuck up.
I like this team. Like I said, they had a slow start at the beginning of the year, but as the year's going on, they've gotten better. They're getting the chemistry down. I think they're the best team in this area going into Charm City. If I were to say they're the best team by far, yes. But Rampage, just as close.
They're literally in
right now, like the difference between the two.
It's a horrible reference, but I get it.
But listen, hear me out on it, bro.
But it is a great reference.
Hear me out, bro. When you look at this team overall,
I get it.
They're gonna get there. We got a lot more football to play, though.
I get it.
Charm City around the corner. Fall ball ahead.
Proctor ain't shit.
I'm going to actually post this PowerPoint later on for those who want to look back on it instead of watching a 2.5 hour video.
How old are you?
Bro.
Post the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I'm a teacher. I'm a professor. I'm an educator.
He's going to put it on his fucking projector screen.
Nah, we got it live on Zoom now. That's that remote learning.
We're going to roll a projector in here with fucking 4 wheels on a cart.
Yeah.
That's what we need to start doing.
Jesus.
That's what we need to start doing. Just send us a projector screen of your jerseys. Start projecting it. And as we go through the list.
Nailed it.
Change them up.
That's not my budget, though. Let's take a look, though. You break down the league.
We can get a projector screen for like $2.
Probably less.
I don't think any of them even exist. They're probably all overheated by now.
All right, take a look. Breaking it down by league, if I were to rank the 4 leagues this year, Washington County has the higher ranked team over KFFL, Broad X being 9th to the B's 13th. I feel like County, though, had 2 of the weaker teams, and both Chaos and UNR were struggling down a little bit. I think Broadax, Spartans, and Warriors were a big part of that league. But those were the only 3 teams who I think had a chance. Ruckus had an outside shot, but they had a long shot to get there. UNR and Chaos, I don't think we're ever going to get there. Chaos, they could have gotten to the semis. I don't think they would have beaten Broadax. KFFL, I felt like any of those top six could have won it easily. I think that was a stronger league. I think County was a little more top heavy. Keystone had a little more parity to it from 1 to 6. You go back OMFFL and MAFL. The one thing that I think sticks out to me the most in this is the fact that OMFFL has 6 teams in the top 6. The entire top 6 is OMFFL. And then you look at it after that, MAFL was there with PME and Dream at 7 and 8, Broadax being 9th, and then OMFL again at 10th. The top 10 has 7 OMFFL teams. You got technically 4 teams who played in MAFL this year up there, 2 who are true MAFL teams, and 1 Washington County team. Like OMFFL to me was the strongest league out of all of them. MAFL being a close second. Keystone and County, I would give the lean to Keystone, if only because I feel like there were more teams that could have won it than County.
There was more teams in general.
No, there was about one more, and that was it.
Still more teams.
Yeah.
And full field.
I feel like it was a good spring. Shout out to the champions, Rampage, No Mercy, Broadax, Killer Bees. Shout out to the champions as well in tournaments from around here. Rampage, who won B and OC. AFN, who won C and OC. Looking forward to more. This is going to be a good year of flag football ahead. Charm City will be coming up. We'll do another ranking show for that.
I can't wait.
I can't wait either. Because, between Charm City, York, League Ball, and Capital Classic, we got a hell of a rest of the year ahead. And I'm excited. Join us here on TBT for more. We'll be back tomorrow night. I'll be back tomorrow night for AFFL 7-man.
Tomorrow night.
Blunt Talk will be back. And then Wednesday night, we got Ross Talk.
Yep.
So till then, I'm Joey Blaze with Ross Collins saying good night. We'll see you tomorrow night.